Donald Trump has suffocated the soul of the Republican Party. His fundamental weakness has coursed through my party like an illness, sapping our strength, softening our spine, whipping us into a fever that has untethered us from our values.
He has no empathy, no morals, and no fidelity to the truth. He used to tell me, "It doesn't matter what you say, Stephanie. Say it enough and people will believe you."
His actions disqualified him from ever stepping foot into the Oval Office again.
Those were some of the many Republicans who spoke out against Donald Trump this week at the Democratic Convention. I'm joined now by top Trump ally, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas. Welcome to This Week. So what do you make all those Republicans speaking at the Democratic Convention?
What I make of them is that Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. But what most Americans remember is that for 4 years when Donald Trump was president, we had peace and prosperity. Everything has gone to hell under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris over the last 4 years. And that's a clear contrast we have. This is an unusual presidential election because Donald Trump has been president before. The American people know what he did. They know that he understands the kind of pain they've suffered for the last 4 years under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And I think that's why they're ready to return Donald Trump to the White House.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a clip that I think is a great example of what I'm talking about when I tell you guys that these so-called journalists in the media are abusing their titles of journalists in order to push their opinion and to defend the Kamala Harris campaign, right? To act as an arm of the Democrat Party, because there's absolutely zero reason whatsoever for Kamala Harris to do any interviews when she has mainstream liberal media anchors like Breonna Taylor and Jonathan Karl bending over backwards, reaching up their butt to pull out a bunch of BS to defend Kamala Harris, although she has not answered questions about some of her radical positions that she took years ago when she was running for president, which apparently is something that Jonathan Karl was not aware of and had to be schooled on by Republican Senator Tom Cotton. Take a look.
And President Trump is going to draw a sharp contrast with Kamala Harris, who has supported things like decriminalizing illegal immigration or giving taxpayer-funded health insurance to illegal aliens or taking away health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans, banning gas cars, confiscating firearms.
What do you mean taking away health insurance? What are you talking about?
She said when she ran for president that she wants to eliminate private health insurance on the job, 170 million Americans, John.
Yeah, I mean that is not her position now.
How do you know that's not her position? How do you know that's not her position?
I mean, she says she no longer supports Medicare for all.
She has not said that. Okay. Maybe anonymous aides on a Friday night have said that, but the last thing that she said on
this was not a radical convention. I mean, she. As you heard me go through with Bernie Sanders, she is not taking the positions of the far left of her party. She's clearly making an effort to move to the middle.
I did hear what you said to Senator Sanders, and I thought it was clear that he's very disappointed that she's taking these efforts not to change her positions, but to hide her positions, John. The American people are totally justified to conclude that Kamala Harris is a dangerous San Francisco liberal based on what she campaigned on the last time she ran for president and what this administration has done for the last 4 years. Again, you would have thought watching the Democratic convention last week that the Democrats are not in office, that they're not in power, that they're campaigning against an incumbent Republican, when in reality, she's been part of the failures of the Biden-Harris administration for 4 years. And when she campaigned for president, in her own right, she did in fact promise things like decriminalizing illegal immigration and taking away health insurance.
But that's his position she's clearly changed on, and she has said she has changed. Yes, she has.
No, she has not. John, she has not said that. She's not. You pointed out to Senator Sanders repeatedly things that her campaign has said. Anonymous aides speaking on background to reporters has said, well, she no longer believes these things. Okay, maybe she has changed her position on things like taking away your health insurance and confiscating your gun. If she has changed her position, she owes it to the American people to come out and say in her own words when she changed and why she changed. That's one reason why she needs to address the American people and speak to these questions, because the only basis they have to conclude What she will be like as president is what she's done for 4 years in this administration and what she said in her own voice in the last campaign. Remember, these are not like college essays, John. This is what she was said when she was campaigning for president as a 54-year-old woman. If she's had such a radical change of heart in the last 5 years, she owes the American people answers.
So speaking of radical changes of heart, I want to ask you about what Donald Trump had to say just a couple of days ago.
Wow. You notice how after this guy got schooled and shut down, right? First thing he does is that he moves on. Well, we got to talk about Trump, right? Let's get on to talking about Trump. This guy is kicking my ass right now. We need to start talking about Trump, right? This is what the mainstream liberal media does when their propaganda fails, right? Because that is what this dude tried to do. And again, this is why I don't like calling these people journalists, right? I'm about to start calling these people opinion commentators, YouTubers, right? Influencers. That's what I'm about to start calling them, because that is the title. That would be a more accurate description of what they're doing, right? This guy, Jonathan Karl, is pretending as if Kamala Harris never took these radical positions, and she has come out here and thoroughly explained why she no longer has these radical positions and when did she change her mind on it. She hasn't done that. She hasn't done at all. She has not sat down for an interview. So for this guy to sit here and to try to play defense for Kamala Harris, to say that, oh, well, she's changed on that. She no longer believes in things like banning private medical insurance, when she is the one that sponsored the Medicare for All bill that is not just socialism, guy. Like, that is a full-blown communist bill, because you have the government taking over all the means of production in the health insurance market while banning any other players. This goes beyond just socialism. This is textbook communism.
It is inhumane to make people go through a system where they cannot literally receive the benefit of what medical science can offer, because some insurance company has decided it doesn't meet their bottom line in terms of their profit motivation. That is inhumane.
Just to follow up on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, to reiterate, you support the Medicare for All bill, I think initially co-sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders. You're also a co-sponsor on it. I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care. And you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company, having them give you approval, going through the paperwork, all of the delay that may require. Who of us has not had that situation where you got to wait for approval and the doctor says, well, I don't know if your insurance company is going to cover this? Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Yeah, full-blown communism, right? And this is why I don't agree with Vivek Ramaswamy when he says that Kamala Harris does not have a political ideology. No. She certainly has a political ideology. She's a communist. But she's trying to hide it, except she kind of does a terrible job of hiding it, because she's out here pushing things like price control, which is also kind of a part of, communism, okay? What these people love to do, right? They basically want the government to control the free market. And this is why you have investors and business people, and also some people in the mainstream liberal media freaking out about this, because everybody knows that when this was tried, like, for example, under Nixon in the U.S., what did we have? We had shortages, okay? It was a disaster because people couldn't even get the necessities, okay? You had ranchers, they stopped shipping their cattle to the market. Hey, I can't sell my product at a certain price. Okay, well, you know what? I'm just not going to supply the goods and the services. Farmers were drowning their chickens. You had consumers rushing into the supermarkets and emptying the shelves, right? Because they said, okay, well, since stuff can only cost this much, guess what? We're going to just buy all of it right now, and so that nobody else can get access to it, right? That is how it worked, right? That's exactly how it worked. There's a reason why price exists. I know the communists don't understand this, but price is just not an arbitrary thing that companies set, okay, in order to make money. No, it's not arbitrary. Price is there for a reason, okay? It keeps people from hoarding things and from taking away goods and services from other people if they're not actually willing to pay for it, if they don't have the ability to really pay for it. And again, this is why price goes up when demand goes up. And guess what? That stops people from just buying all the stuff, and it allows other people to get access to a good or service, okay? When you have price controls in place, what happens is that you have somebody that can come in and just buy all the stuff, and you can't increase the price as a result, which will mean that less people get access to the goods and services. Again, this is basic economics, man. And when it was tried in other countries like the Soviet Union, Venezuela, all these other places, it's never worked, right? And this is why so many people are coming out against this and saying, no. Kamala Harris is not moving towards the middle, as Jonathan Karl is implying, okay? Again, he's acting as a propagandist for the Democrat Party because that is what they're putting out there, although she has not articulated what her current beliefs are and the current policy positions that she is taking. Again, it has a lot of people concerned.
This isn't about trying to price fix. It's just making sure that the economy is operating the way it should, that this is really supply and demand, which we all respect. It's just making sure that coming out of the pandemic or in difficult times that people aren't increasing the price of food just to make a bigger profit. All it is making sure that capitalism stays within the guardrails, and it's not new. We've been doing this in the States for a long time.
Kevin O'Leary joins me now. I got a feeling, Kevin, that you really don't agree with that, do you?
No, I don't. And I have to look at it through the lens of an investor. I have to invest regardless of who's in the White House. So I really perk my ears up, Stuart, when I hear policy, as I did at a rally this weekend. I've spoken with dozens of investors, and we're quite shocked. Just from the 30,000 feet, we thought Harris was going to reboot her whole position to the middle. The idea was to get the swing voters on board with her with a middle strategy. Instead, we're getting Bidenomics 2.0, which is a shock. In addition to Bidenomics 2.0, if you look through the rally proposals, it's basically the same stuff they've been touting for the last 36 months. You've got this price control, price fixing patina on top of it, which we know doesn't work. If you go back to the 70s when we tried this in the U.S., it was a disaster. Look at Venezuela today, or North Korea, or the old USSR tried this. It leads to black markets. It leads to a complete loss of freedom of goods and the breakdown of distribution. I mean, this is a really, really bad idea. And I'm so shocked that she's doing it. We're all shocked. We can't believe this is the platform. We're almost stunned, because this leads to a position of just saying, well, you're getting the same thing you had. And Bidenomics as a brand is toxic waste to the swing voter. It's associated with inflation. All of these ideas are very inflationary.
Yeah, price controls don't fix inflation. They hide inflation. And what you have is Kamala Harris not changing her positions, but she's hiding her positions, which is exactly what Tom Cotton pointed out, right? She's hiding the fact that, hey, yeah, I supported Medicare for all. The fact that she's not coming out here doing an interview explaining why she no longer supports that and when did she change her mind, what made her change her mind, makes me think that, yeah, well, that's what she still believes, right? And the reason why she's not trying to do any interviews and to talk about it is because she's afraid of upsetting the far left. Now, if we had a mainstream liberal media that wasn't the arm of the Democrat Party, what would happen is that they would allow Republicans to define Kamala Harris whatever way that they want to, as long as they have evidence to back up their claims, which they do, and they would not push back. Why shouldn't they push back? Well, the reason why they shouldn't push back is because it's not their job to push back on claims that Kamala Harris made herself, that Republicans are saying that this is what she believes. That's actually Kamala Harris's job, right? But Kamala Harris doesn't have to do that because you have propagandists like Jonathan Karl in the media doing it for her. Oh, no, well, she doesn't really believe that. She changed her position. Now, again, this guy doesn't really know if she changed her position. He's just repeating the talking points that were given to him by the Kamala campaign to go out there and say to Republicans who correctly call out Kamala Harris's far left radical positions. That's what's happening. She has not made any definitive statement herself in regards to where she's at on a lot of these positions that she took, like, for example, giving free healthcare to illegals. That's something she definitely needs to come out here and explain. Talking about how she wants to decriminalize border crossings. That's something that she definitely needs to come out here and explain. But again, the unfortunate reality is that she doesn't feel the need to because she has propagandists in the media doing it for her, right? Doing it for her. Do these people ever correct Democrats when they falsely say things about Trump in his position, right? Do they ever say, nah, Trump doesn't really believe that, or he changed on this issue or that issue? No, they don't, right? But they do this every single time when it comes to defending Democrats and their radicalism. And this is what I'm talking about in regards to why people do not take the mainstream liberal media serious, right? Like, this is not journalism. This is not news reporting. This is just flat out propaganda. That's what it is. That's what it is. And it's sad. It really is. It's sad that this is where we're at in our media, where they're just overtly defending one side of the political aisle to the point where, again, this guy is basically acting as PR for Kamala Harris's campaign, right? While calling himself a so-called journalist. And this is why the American people aren't really educated on issues. People don't really know what Kamala Harris believes, and that's done on purpose. She's a Trojan horse, a classic Trojan horse, an obvious Trojan horse. She's a far leftist. This woman is a communist. And that's not an exaggeration. That's not me using it as a smear. That's me using it as an accurate representation of what she believes. Her core political ideology. She's a communist, okay? And unfortunately, because a lot of people aren't educated on communism and the destruction and chaos that happens as a result of communism in this country. A lot of people listen to things like price controls. They say, oh, that's a great idea, right? Let's make the price of bread and eggs $1, okay? And then you got the welfare queen going up in the store and buying all the eggs and bread, and then these same people boohoo, whining, and crying, wondering why in the world is there no eggs and bread available, right? They'll be wondering, right? This is what they're signing up for, but they have no clue, right? For two reasons. Because, again, our education system has failed, okay? And also because our mainstream liberal media, they're an arm of the Democrat Party. So people are just completely in the dark about what this woman actually believes. But, again, that's done on purpose, because if she actually was exposed for what she believes, it would be clear and obvious that she is a full-blown communist. That's what she is. And ultimately, in the day, this is not something that this country can tolerate for 4 years. We cannot tolerate 4 years of communism, and this is why she must be defeated. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.